Bonjour. Parlez français. Français 1. Greetings. Bonjour. Répétez. Repeat after me. Bonjour. Bonjour means hello. It means good morning. Or it means good day. Bonsoir. Bonsoir you would use in the evening to say good evening. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit means good night, and this is also used as a greeting. Titles. In French, it's common to address people by their titles. Monsieur, répétez, monsieur means Mr. Madame, madame, that means Mrs. Mademoiselle, mademoiselle, that means Miss. Often, when French people greet one another, they will use bonjour and then one of these titles without using the person's last name. So they'd say, for example, bonjour monsieur, bonjour madame, bonjour mademoiselle. Now let's take a look at the abbreviations here. You'll notice that monsieur, Mr. is abbreviated M period. However, there's no period at the end of madame or mademoiselle. The reason for that, the French guideline is that if the abbreviation ends in the same letter as the actual word, then they don't bother with the period. Monsieur here ends in an R, whereas this does not, so that's why we see the period here. Bonjour, monsieur. Bonjour, madame. If you're speaking to someone that is a friend, a family member, or someone else that you know really well, or that you address informally, like a child, for example, then you can use the word salut. Salut. You don't pronounce that T at the end. This more like means hi, so that you wouldn't say salut, monsieur. This would be for people that you're on a first name basis with. So, salut, Pierre. Gestures, les gestes. When French people greet one another, they will either kiss each other on both cheeks or they'll shake hands. Kissing on the cheek is called la bise. Now we're going to talk more about la bise and other gestures in the next section, but this is an important part of greeting, so we need to mention it here as well. A handshake in France is different than in the United States. French people will use a light grip, like they barely touch each other's hands, and pump only once up and down, and then that's the end of the handshake. These gestures are also used to say goodbye to somebody. If you're greeting somebody in a group, if you kiss one of them, you'll kiss all of them. If you shake hands with one, you'll shake hands with all. And it's expected both in greeting and saying goodbye in France. What's your name? Comment t'appelles-tu? Répétez. Repeat. Comment t'appelles-tu? Notice that you are not saying the S on appel. You're not saying the NT on the end of comment. Okay, those are completely silent. Comment t'appelles-tu? And that's what you use to ask what's your name. To answer, we say je m'appelle. Je m'appelle. Once you say je m'appelle, you're simply going to add your name onto the end. It's not as though you're going to say je m'appelle is, because that's not correct. You'll just say je m'appelle Claudine. Je m'appelle Pierre. There are other ways to ask this question. In fact, in some of the videos that you'll see here, they'll say comment tu t'appelles, or tu t'appelles comment, or even a little longer and more wordy, comment est-ce que tu t'appelles? All of these are equally correct. However, you cannot translate word for word and say like quel est votre nom or something like that. And I'm going to talk about that here on this slide, where I'm going to tell you never use Google Translate. And this is a really good example of why not. Okay, here we have my name is, and I entered that on the English side. And here's the French translation I get. Mon nom est. While this is the literal translation of these words, this is not how French people speak. So I will not accept mon nom est or quel est votre nom or any of those things that you will get from Google Translate on a quiz. That's what I call a red flag. So if you're using phrases like that I've told you not to use or we haven't used in class, I'm going to be pretty sure that you've been to Google Translate and you will not get credit. Okay, pratiquer. Let's take a minute to practice. Greet the person next to you and ask comment t'appelles-tu, and then go ahead and answer. And we'll pick it up in the next video.